This is the choice sheet that you will be using with your 9 weeks reading project. Your reading project will be graded based on number of pages that you read in a quarter and number of points that you accumulate. I want to offer a brief explanation of this choice sheet. More explanation may be needed, and we can talk about that during class, or I can create more of these audio presentations. Along the side, you will see that I have book of choice. If it's less than 150 pages, then you can earn 2 points. It must be age and Lexile appropriate, however. As you will notice, the longer the book, the more pages it has, the more points it is worth. Now, the rest of these boxes are simply choices that you have to earn points for your project. You do not have to do all of these things. You don't have to do one from each area. It is purely for you to decide what your interests are and what you want to do to accumulate the types of points that you need for this project. A personal response sheet is a paper that you will use to respond about your book. You'll have to tell me, for example, what surprised you about your book, and then why it surprised you. You have to really go into some detail and show some high-level thinking, but that's what a personal response sheet is. You can do a poster, a mobile, a travel brochure, a newspaper article, any of that type of thing. It has to be neat, it has to be in color, it has to show that you put some thought into it, but it's a smaller project, so it's worth 5 points. Same with an Instagram, a Facebook page, a Twitter feed. I have examples of these in my classroom. Again, they must be neat, they must be in color, and you can earn 5 points as well. These 4 boxes, you'll notice they all say discussions. I will put a couple of discussion posts on my Big Campus where you can perhaps write a letter to the author, ask the author questions, tell the author what you thought about the book, and then if you would like to, respond to somebody's letter to the author, and you can tell them maybe you read the same book and maybe you agreed about something or you disagreed about something, and you have some kind of dialogue with them. You can earn 2 points. You'll notice it says must follow directions on my Big Campus. Therefore, when you look at those discussion posts, I will have in detail what I expect from you academically in order to earn those points. You can also do a book recommendation. If you just want to write a book recommendation or a short summary about the book and tell me if you like it, or it's just basically a book report, you can do that as well. And then again, you can respond to it. Notice you can also respond to blog posts, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Up here you'll see blog. It's worth a lot of points, but it is really for the serious reader. There are many criteria with the blog. You have to post like 3 times a week. It's pretty in-depth. However, it's worth a lot of points. So if you're an avid reader and you just want to read and do a blog, that's really all you'd need to do for the 9 weeks. You'd also have to try to get viewership, try to get it out there, and I will help you with that, to get kids, other students, to read your blog and to respond to it, and they get points for that, so that's certainly beneficial. Then you'll see I have 2 presentations. You can do a PowerPoint, but if it looks basically like a book report on a PowerPoint, it's only going to be worth about 5 points. In order to get more points, it needs to have so many slides, and I have that paper that you can have. If you want to do a presentation, I will give you more information on that. But it has to have a minimum amount of slides. It has to have some special effects. It has to be creative, and that's why the difference in the point values. Then we have the book club. Last year that was a big hit. I had book clubs meeting in my room almost every single day. If you want to organize a book club, it is pretty intensive, but it's worth 10 points just to organize it. That means you get the group together, you get the books together, you determine the dates of your meetings. You can meet twice a week for 2 weeks, or you can meet once a week for a month. That's up to you. And you are also in charge of making sure that your group members, remind them about the meetings, remind them to make sure that they've caught up with their reading, because you have to be able to show evidence that every one of your group members did their job. You don't want somebody to get points for not doing anything when you worked really hard. Then anybody who attends the book club, organizer included, gets 5 points. So if you meet 4 times, that's 20 points. So that's a really nice way to get a big chunk of points. So if you know you want to read the same book as one of your friends, especially if that friend isn't in your English class and you want to meet, that's great. And we usually meet during lunch. I give you a pass. You can take that to the front of the line. They give you a styrofoam tray. That's important so that you can just throw it in the trash can and not have to go back all the way up to the cafeteria. And a lot of kids like that. So moving on. If you're more creative, more artsy, if you want to do a creative writing project, you can do an alternate ending, an epilogue, a poem response. I have an example of that. But there are some, you need a 2-page minimum. It is worth 10 points, so you need to make sure that it is worthy of 10 points. You can even do a creative art project. Maybe you're into singing or art, and you want to do a song, a model of artwork, anything. You need to have a written explanation and make a connection with the artwork and your book, but it can be negotiable. Some kids did a lot of work last year, and I felt like after I saw their project, I felt like it was worth more than 10 points. And I feel that some kids might not have done as much because of the fact it was only worth 10. So talk to me about it. If you do a song, or even if you do a poem, if you want to read it aloud, you can either read it in front of the class or you can videotape yourself reading it. And I have a YouTube channel, a private YouTube channel that we can post things to. So let me know. Then we have, these 3 are video projects. You can do a book talk where you individually, that you videotape yourself talking about your book. Or you can do a video project of like an acting out the scene of a scene of your book, or do a movie trailer, do an alternate ending. These 2, this one is also like a talk show with the characters, or mock trial. Maybe it's a murder mystery and you want to put one of your characters on trial. Those 2 are really good to do with a book club. Or if you and a partner are reading the same book, you're not really doing a book club, but you want to do something together. Each member that is in the group will get 10 points. Also keep in mind that at least 4 times throughout the quarter, I will give class time to either allow for people to meet as a group or for people to work individually on their projects. So that way you know that you don't have to meet outside of class necessarily, but you do have to be organized so that you can get as much done during class as you possibly can. Now you'll notice down here I have, this is kind of my rubric of how I keep track of your grade. You will tell me how many points you accumulated, how many pages you read, and then I will ascertain whether or not it is of high quality, and if the evidence that you provided is highly evident and it's easy to locate. You have to give me evidence. That means the burden of proof that you read and did what you said you did is on you. If I can't find it, you won't get the grade that maybe you felt like you were going to get. So be sure that you do that, and I will help you with that. But notice, if you want that A or A+, an A means you went over and above. You went over my expectations. You had more than 50 points. You read more than 1,000 pages. Your work is very high quality. That's what's going to get you an A. Now, you'll notice that there's a way to get an A-, B+. There's nothing wrong with not getting that A. A B is above average work. But I did want you to know that if you're not sure you can read over 1,000 pages, then look to see what grade you would be comfortable with. A C is average. So if you want to at least have your first goal of a C, so you're not too overwhelmed, notice the point value changes and so does the page number. Now let's look down here. I don't want anyone to be, their goal is to have a D minus. However, if you're one that you know that you struggle with carving out time to read, a D minus is 60%. Not turning in anything at all is a 0%. A 60% means you did the bare minimum and it wasn't all that great, but it was 60% instead of a 0. And yes, I'm repeating myself, but I'm trying to get you to understand that you may not feel like you can get an A or maybe even a B, but everyone can pass this project. A D minus will, it'll bring your grade down a little bit, but a 0% will probably bring your grade down at least a letter grade and probably 2 letter grades. So just keep that in mind. Now this paper, this is a PowerPoint that is a video tutorial on how to create a digital comic strip. I've never done that before, so you might want to check it out and see if it's something that is interesting to you, or you can do the comic strip where you just do it by hand. Let's see, the book clubs. The organizer must keep track of responsibilities. This is just a little bit more in depth on what I expect from book clubs. Book blogs, same here. Then PowerPoints, if you want 10 points, this is what you need to do in order to get the 10 points. Let's see, the Prezi and the Glogster will be graded in similar ways. Then you'll notice that during Media Center this year, Mrs. Beechler is going to mini conference with all of you, or most of you hopefully, and or between the two of us we'll get around to all of you. You need to keep track. So if you want to save this page and make it as a PDF that you can write on, that's fine. If you want to create your own that's similar, like in OneNote, that's fine. Or if you just want a hard copy of this and you keep track of it by hand and keep it in a folder, that's fine. But you need to keep track of your books as you're doing things. And here, project evidence. Now I will take a day where we go through this and make sure that everything is there for you. But it's really will be very helpful to you if you keep track of this as you're doing things. And then this is a contract. I will print these out and I will send these to home to your parents. And I may need to adjust a few things, but we'll send it home to your parents. They will read it and they will sign it. I will keep track. About a week before these are due, I will send emails and make phone calls to anyone who hasn't turned in anything or has told me that they have not even started on this. So you need to be sure that you are working on this and you're using the time provided to you during read and feeds and during work time and doing some of this on your own time as well. I'm sure there'll be questions, and any questions that you have you can post in a conversation. Just send me a conversation about what specifically. You can't just say, I don't get it. I need to know what exactly did you not get, or what more information exactly do you need, and I will be happy to work with each and every one of you.